Well, hello everyone. You hear you show you right here. I'm talking about for mom is in the White House, and this looks more like if you want to kind of call it like a political type yeah, illustration painting right here. But of course, yeah, I'm using Photoshop right here, and along with the graphing tablet right here. So the way I'm able to work the paintbrush right here, especially with the eyes, and then of course with the hair it is. And anybody say that what source of female are we talking about? I get a type of female who's willing to do good, hard, might say if you want to call it as like to willing to do a job, for the American people, and as well, if we're going to have a female president one of these days, but still, say talk about for next year that for presidential election. But a lot of times it's like whenever I'm reading those political posts, it's like one or two that what would it be like to actually have a woman president? And I use right here, mom is in the White House as an example, for like for a woman president. But I know that that's the first greeting, I guess you could say that the first quote, I guess, added to it was more likely for Mother's Day because I know they usually Mother's Day is around May, so I kept thinking too that another way of how you want to describe to honor our moms, for their children and all that. But let's just say if we have a woman president, who is a parent, a woman president who is a parent, and one of those is that they talk about for celebrating Mom's Day, and then knowing about one of those moms you could be up there in the White House, do it, inside the Oval Office and checking it out, check out what needs to be done, but still though, how will we think though that to where that women though that most women, the things that women can handle compared to what guys can handle, and we may have seen a lot of female barbers, and then maybe female, it's like yeah, that how often maybe pizza delivery drivers or something like that. But still though that what the think about is to worry about women. Like I said, talk about the for mom though. Mom in the White House. Mom is in the White House, and sometimes that you weren't. Where does that sound a little bit more like maybe like a People's Magazine advertisement, or if anything that it is related about the fact about a woman is willing to step up and do change, show improvements. And some guys may say is to where that women can't really do that because you might hear about women being in the Coast Guard, the National Guard, or the Marines or something like that in the Navy. But sometimes it's like want to know too about what all jobs are more for guys and compared to females. But you have right here, that with if we do have a first woman president, and sometimes it seems like that the first thing that's going to come to my impression is more likely going to be about okay, if we're going to have a female president, then look at that as more like a Britney Spears, like yeah, we're going to have we're going to have a female president known as for Britney Spears. So let's just say if we're going to have like maybe like a Christy Aguilera for president of the United States, or if we're going to have maybe have maybe like yeah, Christy Applegate, or like some one of those other celebrity stars. But still that I know that with the fact about having a woman president though, if we're going to have a woman president, and half the time it seems like that you're likely thinking too that most of the time it's mainly the guys who are going to be the presidents, mainly that's really a guy's job really. But let's just say though that if mama goes up into the White House and want to know just a little bit too, to where that if a woman's going to be elected for president, and that she could also know too that for many years that you've been in a housekeeping, you've been a housekeeper. You used to clean houses back whenever you were very young. Maybe you were a waitress at one time, but then if you're going to be president though, then you're also thinking too about knowing about the number of responsibilities that you do have, as well as if you're going to be a business owner. But I know that what's one type of reason of understanding about politics is like say want to know just a little bit too that whenever you know if you're going to be winning the election though for 2020, or if you're going to be getting into politics whenever you're older, and want to know just a little bit too, to where that whenever you're going to be elected, and whenever you're trying to get elected to be president, that a number of responsibilities that you may have missed during the campaigning promises. So it seems like a lot of times, though, that whenever you're going to be forming a group in a party, just to be able to be elected for president of the United States, that a lot of things that maybe you may think, though, is to where that, oh yeah, you can handle this and you can handle that, but then later on it turns out that, oh no, not so fast, because, yeah, we all know that putting on our makeup and putting on, a skirt, a special skirt, or maybe perfume is pretty simple. But if we're talking about a number of things that need to be done up there in the Oval Office, and especially whenever it comes to wars, yep. How would a female president be able to handle the country of ISIS, and as well as Iraq or Afghanistan? How would they be able to negotiate, and how would they be able to negotiate trade and an ordeal, and how would they be able to handle all that, if they're going to be president? So let's just say that being president, maybe for a publishing magazine, but still, if you're going to be up there in the White House, and want to know just a little bit too, to where that really that if we're going to have a female president, and sometimes you may think to where, okay, yeah, I think it's best to have a female president, but have a guy vice president. Have a guy vice president. Have a vice president who is a male. Have a vice president who is a guy who is willing to stand by the female president, just to make sure that they're getting the job done. And so it seems like to where if we're going to have a first female president, then we're going to need to have a male vice president. So let's just say if it's in between gender, I know about between man and woman, that chances are, if we're going to have a female being elected president of the United States, then they're going to be that more likely that there's going to be a gentleman who's going to be elected for vice president. So I want to know too that even if we do get a woman president, then what would that mean for the vice president, and then maybe for Secretary of State? But still, I guess say that Secretary of States, I usually see those as females. But I tell you one thing, though, that a lot of things that I hear about on the news, especially, that sometimes it seems like that, since Washington's presidency, you want to know too that that's usually been a guy's job, because you want to too that being president is not just about styling your hair, not just about putting makeup on, styling your hair, but then also knowing about what goes on up there in the Oval Office. So a lot of times it seems like that whenever you're going to be running for president, if you're going to be president of the United States, and you're going to have a lot of people, unhappy people, and want to know just a little bit too, to where how a woman will be able to take care of it. Still, though, that I guess it's all about women's rights. I hear that too a lot of times on the news about women's rights. That you may think that the three basic rights are really about what the guys, or maybe what the gentlemen, had to say about their hard work and honesty and all that, what they want to see improve for the next 4 or 5 years. But then women, though, the women are usually the ones who are getting the pictures taken, or taking the pictures, maybe getting the food prepared, or maybe doing the laundry. I'm like, that's a source of stuff that you would see women doing. But a lot of times you're one or two that if we do have a woman president, and want to know just a little bit too, to where, okay, if we're going to have a woman president, and want to know to where, okay, Mrs. President, what are you going to, how do you think you're going to handle it to where if we go to war one of these days, if we have to handle it to where if we get attacked? I'm like, well, for what goes on in the country of ISIS, and then for what goes on for any country like that, if it's going to be Israel or China, Israel or China, or maybe if it is other countries that trading deal. I'm like, so negotiating deals with other countries. So I know that I don't know how many ladies may want to where, if history was ever your favorite subject whenever you were young, social studies, But I guess it seems like that whenever you're going to be president, that's something to think about, to where that you be able to go to other countries. But then what if you go into a battle with those other countries? Let's just say if it is ISIS or Syria, then how would a woman be able to handle that? But I guess half the time it seems like really the best answer, I guess, would be about is toward it. Yeah, if you're willing to support whoever that's going to be president. But if we're going to have a first female president, and I want to know just a little bit too, to where that yeah, job creation won't be able to handle that. Maybe maybe the food in the White House or something like that. Chores in the White House. First lady. I'm like, yep. At the time, you weren't. To where if we're going to have a first female president of the United States, are they going to be called the first lady? Or are they going to be called, the first ma'am president, whichever? But I tell you one thing, though, that if we do see a first female president in the near future, maybe by the year 2024 or 2026, or maybe by 2030, by the year 2030, if we do see a woman president, you coming in there to the White House. And I want to know just a little bit too, to where that, okay, if there's wars or battles going on, and I want to know just a little bit too, to where if the president gets a call, and you're likely say is to where is it a woman or a man, or is it just somebody ordinary, to where that you're the fashion girl or something. But in case if anybody say fashion girl, I can fashion girl. But I'll go and zoom in right here just to show everybody here that the White House example right here, because I know that the White House example that you have right here is with this right here. You say the White House example, but if I get that, but anyway, you got right there is the White House right there. But anyway, you got the White House, but I know that if we're going to have a woman president one of these days, and sometimes it seems like that, number one, the woman, that the ladies are going to need to know exactly about a lot of things that the guys would need to know, such as, emails, and plus if you're going to have an account, plus other things that maybe most moms would need to know too, as to where on Mother's Day, what is this female president going to be doing on Mother's Day necessarily? Are they going to be collecting maybe a bouquet of flowers, or maybe if they're going to enjoy some tea or something like that at the White House, or maybe if it is anything such as what these signatures are going to look like from the first female president. And in case if anybody that may ask me too, that really, what do you think that the first signature from the first female president is going to be? And let's just say that if it's going, maybe if we're going to have a president, a President Malati or something like that, President Kalati or something like that, President Rachel McCarthy or something like that, Rachel McCarthy or something like that, and go ahead and just sign right there. If I do that maybe in green, or maybe just switch that to black right there. Yeah, what the signature is going to look like for the first female Malati or something like that. So go ahead and put right there for M, and say that, yeah. So I'll go ahead and put right there, for, something like that, just little scribble marks, what exactly, what is the first female president signature going to look like? And I want to know too that, that if we do have so I'll just say that, McCall, I'll just say, McCall, I know. MEC, I'll go ahead and see. OIE, something like that. Really, what is the first female signature going to look like on a bill, on like anything related to Congress? So like we say that, well, I mean, let's just say that if we get a Michelle or Veronica or something like that, President Veronica or something like that, and like we say too, that what exactly the signatures. I'll go ahead and I'm sure most of us had gotten our practice with writing in cursive too, but just say that something like that. Anyway, with the heart. But anyway, thanks for watching everyone, and have a great day.